How would you like to receive lessons in success from the wealthiest people on the planet? Well, you're in the right place, because today they're going to do exactly that. Welcome to Bounce Mojo's take on the 10 best success lessons from the most successful billionaires the world has ever seen. We also have an actionable bonus at the very end. Enjoy.
So it is my intention to fulfill the dream of the Creator. It is my intention to live to the highest calling and be pressed to the mark of the highest calling that I have come to do. And when you can ask the Creator, ask that which made you you, what is your dream for me? I guarantee you, instead of you trying to define the dream, what is your dream for me? If you're able to lean into the dream that the universe and all the forces of light and love and power and grace, by all the names that we call God, has for you, nobody can touch you. Nobody can touch you.
And so I get to, when I say, okay, we're going to build a TB drug team, we're going to build the TB vaccine team, we're going to build kill all the mosquitoes in the world, gene drive CRISPR team. I get to, in terms of how we fund that, organize it, how many locations, do we wait till they have this result before we scale it up? I get to use the same, or 80% the same type of thinking that I exercised in terms of, okay, let's go do Windows, let's go do Excel. So it's backing engineers, it's getting a sense of the team, what needs to be added to that team, or the IQs on the team adding up as opposed to subtracting from each other. And it's very comfortable, because the most intense period of Microsoft was where these teams were about size 30. And for our diseases, typhoid, rotavirus, there's a lot of diseases that hopefully you'll never hear of again, most of which don't exist here in the US. But so it is very, very similar. It takes a decade generally from start to finish. The AIDS vaccine, actually, we're on year 14, and it'll probably be another 8 to 10 years before that one is completely done. So some take as long as 20 years, because there's many dead ends and you have kind of a portfolio of approaches. But yes, I feel like my working with governments, hiring smart people, managing teams, it did prepare me well for this very operational organization that's a lot like a business, except that our profit is lives saved, as opposed to a monetary measure.
Tell people your concept of the paddle.
Well, there's a paddle for everybody's ass. We all know that. And every day you just get up, and I don't fear anything, but I worry about everything. And the day you stop worrying in good times, the paddle will get your behind. And so as great as things are in life, I know you're only a few steps or a few incidents away from something bad happening. You can never forget it.
Did you have fear as a kid, and you just got into enough business scuffles that you figured your way through things, or have you always been fearless?
I'm pretty fearless, but I do worry about everything. But once again, the book, and this is why Harper's asked me to write the book, because of all my Tillmanisms, you got to know what you know and what you don't know. And I knew that I understood business. Now, don't ask me to, go win an Emmy. I took guitar lessons for 4 years, and I still struggle playing a guitar. I can't draw a stick person very good, but I knew that I understood business. So I know what I know, and I know how to do due diligence on a deal. I don't worry about making a bad deal, because I feel like that's what I know. So no fear when it comes to that.
2008 in particular was awful, because we had the third launch failure in a row of our Falcon 1 vehicle at SpaceX, the Tesla financing round that we were raising fell apart because the economy was going to tailspin. And it's pretty hard to raise money for a startup car company, late 2008 when GM and Chrysler are busy going bankrupt. That was tough. And then Solar City had to deal with Morgan Stanley, and Morgan Stanley had to renege on the deal because they themselves were running out of money. So it looked like all three companies were going to die. And I was also going through a divorce. So that was definitely a low point.
So it's 2008, you're going through a divorce, which like some, to borrow your word, douchebag bloggers are writing about to make even worse.
Right, yes, that's true. In addition to all that stuff happening, I was getting dumped on massively in the press.
Right.
Yeah.
It looks like all three companies are going to fail. I mean, why do you keep going with all three? Like, I feel like even a lot of great entrepreneurs in that situation would have been like, I've already sunk everything I have in these companies, and I got to pick one. But you didn't. I mean, you kept doing all three. Why?
That was a very tough call. At the end of 2008, that was probably one of the toughest calls I've had to make, because I could either reserve capital for one company or the other. I mean, fortunately, Solar City didn't need a ton of capital, so they were okay. But between SpaceX and Tesla, it's sort of like if you've got two kids, and what do? Do you spend all your money to maximize the probability of success of one, or do you try to keep both alive? Fortunately, it worked.
Both of us know that we've done better by having ethics. Warren's not interested in making money by cheating people.
Warren's opinions of Wall Street investment bankers would not endear him to their mothers. He feels that they're, for the most part, not out for their clients. They're out for their own business interests.
In the late 1960s, there were just a flood of accounting shenanigans and mergers built upon false accounting and misleading people. It was a time when a lot of charlatans were prevailing in Wall Street and were being applauded by Wall Street. And I understood what the game was about, but I didn't want to play in it. So I closed down the partnership at the end of 1969, and I took on the title of chairman for Berkshire Hathaway.
Take me inside Mark Zuckerberg's head to like the moment that you decided you needed to change Facebook's core mission. Was there an event that happened, or was there just a moment that you said, we got to change something?
Well, for most of the last 10 years, this idea that the world should be more connected was not very controversial. Right, and now I think there are starting to be some people who question whether that is good. So just been this evolution where for me, and for a lot of the people I work with at Facebook, we feel like giving people a voice is a really important thing to do, but it's not enough to just give people a voice. You also have to help build common ground, right? So that way people can move forward together and aren't just sharing a lot of different opinions, but you actually have to help reconcile that. So that way people can come together as well. And that's a lot of the responsibility that we feel now and the mission that we want to take on for the next 10 years of the company.
You keep hearing we've never been more divided, we've never been more polarized. Was it the political climate that led to kind of this awakening?
I think it's really this feeling that simply connecting the world is not enough by itself, that you also have to work and do proactive work to help bring people closer together, right? So you need to give people a voice so we can get a diversity of opinions out there, but you also need to do work to help build enough common ground so that way we can make progress as a society together, right? You want to help people stay connected with the people they already know and care about, but you also want to make it so that people get access to new people and new perspectives too. So we're going to keep on doing everything that we were doing before to connect friends and family and to help people share. But now we also want to help people build communities, right? And other ways that they can connect and help people bond and come together and spread tolerance and a lot of the values that I think we all want to see in the world.
If you come up with an idea where you say, I can make dollar bills for 50 cents, would you go out and raise money, or would you just go out and sell it? You just go out and do it, and that's what you have to do. And look, we all go through that fear factor of, do I quit my job? Can I do this? Can I do this, and what happens next? The one thing I know with 100% certainty, and what I would tell myself is, if I can sell and become a better and better salesperson and be great at selling, I'm always going to be successful whether I'm working for myself or if the company that I started just didn't work. I'll give you an example. Out of Indiana, before I went down to Dallas, I needed to start something. And I decided that everybody drank milk, and I found this product, powdered milk, that was cheaper, and everybody needed to save money. And I was going to go out there and sell it because it was cheaper. Now, it didn't taste quite as good. And so but I went out there to try to sell it. Failed miserably. But I learned how to make the sales effort even when things weren't going right. I learned that the rejection was, every no got me closer to a yes. That not every product was perfect, but I could take those same skills, even in failure, and translate them. So that what I learned selling garbage bags door to door, what I learned from selling powdered milk that was awful, what I learned from selling local area networks at Micro Solutions, all those things accumulated, and I got better at selling. So I always knew, people always say to me, if you lost everything, what would you do? I can sell. I can sell. And it's not about selling ice to Eskimos. It's not about, convincing people to do this. Selling is always about helping. Selling is always about understanding the person you're talking to and what their needs are. And if someone can help me make my life easier, yeah. People, now with employees, people always say, well, what's the definition of a great employee? Someone who can reduce the stress of those around them. And it's the same thing. What's the definition of a great salesperson? Someone who can reduce the stress of their salespeople. And if in looking at your company and looking at your life and looking at your goals, if you're able to go out there and recognize that whether it works or doesn't work, you're putting yourself in a position where you're helping somebody, not convincing somebody, and you're reducing their stress, you're gonna be okay. It's gonna work out. And that's the confidence I've built in myself that wasn't necessarily always there. But I learned that if I try to help, if I reduce people's stress, good things can happen.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notifications about our latest videos. You have the option of being notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on your notifications.
So 1979, 80, 81, I calculated that American banks had lent a lot more money to emerging countries than those countries were going to get paid back. And I anticipated that there would be a debt crisis, and with that, an economic crisis. So that was my thinking. In August 1982, Mexico defaulted on its debt, and a number of countries followed. And so because I said that, I got a lot of attention about that. And I thought that was going to be producing a bear market in stocks. And I could not have been more wrong. August 1982 was the exact bottom of the stock market. And I was wrong. And as a result of that, let's take my 8 employees, I had to let them go. I lost money for myself. I lost money and I had to borrow $4,000 from my dad. It was one of the most painful experiences, but it was one of the best experiences that ever happened to me in my life because it changed my perspective about decision making. It gave me the humility that I needed and fear of being wrong in my decisions while I was able to maintain my aggressiveness. So it changed my whole approach to decision making.
I always tell people, sometimes they we'll have a good quarterly conference call or something, and Wall Street will like our quarterly results, and people will stop me and say, congratulations on your quarter, and I say, thank you. But what I'm really thinking is, that quarter was baked 3 years ago. Right now, I'm working on a quarter that's going to reveal itself in 2021 sometime. And that's what you need to be doing. You need to be out sort of, 2 or 3 years in advance. And if you are, and then why do I need to make 100 decisions today? If I make like 3 good decisions a day, that's enough. And they should just be as high quality as I can make them.
I know nothing about technology. I know nothing about marketing. I know nothing about the legal, all the stuff. And
what do you know?
I want to know about people. I know people. I was trained to be a teacher. As a teacher, you want your students better than you are. You want your best product is your students. You want this student to be a lawyer, that student is a banker, that student is an entrepreneur, that is a mayor. You don't want this bankrupt, that in the jail, that is in trouble. So you always want people better. And then you have to listen to them. You have to see their thing, and then make all the things to making sure that you can empower them. You can make them teamwork. You can then collaborate. So this is how we do. And I find the more you care about your team, the team will care about you, and the team will care about their customers. So I talk to all of my people early days, don't make me happy. Don't love me. Make your customer happy. Make your customer love you, and I will love you any minute. That is very simple. So everything we do as a founder, make your customer happy, get your team, make your team happy, and you will be happy.
Thank you for watching Bounce Mojo's take on our Billionaires Lessons for Success. Now, before we dive into the bonus section, it's now over to you. We want to hear from you. What was your favourite lesson or lessons today? Make sure you put it in the comments below. And don't forget, if you like this video and would like to see more like it, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button below, followed by the bell icon to receive notifications. Put the bounce in your mojos today with our bonus section. So grab a pen, get out your journal, and let's get started. Number 1, list 3 things that are stopping you from pulling the trigger right now. What's holding you back? Is it your boss? Is it where you live? Think of what you could do to eliminate some of those distractions so you can get around to pulling the trigger. Number 2, what's the one thing that you could do that would absolutely demolish these beliefs? Change your job, move house, go and earn a little bit more money. What could you do to get rid of some of these distractions? And number 3, what's the first step that you need to take toward that one thing? Get out your diary and maybe schedule some time so you can do that one thing. Now it's over to you and time to take some action.